everyone. As I talked about in the Oracle of the Dragonfey video, I purchased some revised or updated versions or US versions of some of my favorite Oracle decks, and I wanted to do some videos comparing and contrasting them for you guys so you can see if it's another investment that you want to make of your time and energy and resources, or if you prefer to stay with your original versions. So, I'm going to talk about two decks in this video, Goddesses and Sirens and Gods and Titans Oracles, both by Stacey DeMarco with artwork by one of my favorite artists, Jimmy Manton. So I am really happy that the US version differs in certain ways from the original, because they're all things that I was really missing in the original and that are in the US version. And I am really excited that they've been included. So I'm going to start talking about it right away so I don't take up all of your time. For the Goddesses and Sirens deck, this is the original deck. I hate this backing. And I talked about it in my review of both of these decks, that the backings are just, it looks like they're trying to look like Spartacus or 300. Like, it just looks too much like commercialized TV show type of thing to me. So I really disliked the backings of these, and they've gotten rid of those. The new backing for Goddess and Sirens looks like this. The only drawback that I will say is that the new decks are produced by, let's see. In the US, it's by this other company. Hold on. And I will tell you, Beyond Words, out of Oregon. And the cardstock is a lot flimsier than the original. So you can see in the original, it's got a little heft to it. It's a Blue Angel deck, so you know you've got nice card quality stock. This is really thin, and that is frustrating to me, but that's the only drawback to the new version. So the original, some of the images could tend to be a little grainy and a little faded, as you can see here in some of them. There's Vesta. So they improved upon that in the new deck, and let me just show you that. So that the images are a little brighter. And they're, I don't know if you can see in my camera, but they're definitely not as grainy as in the original. Here's Morgan Le Fay, who we talked about in the Oracle of the Dragonfey just now, and here she is in the Goddesses and Sirens deck. So you can see how Jimmy Manton's kept her authenticity, but he changed her in a beautiful way for the Oracle of the Dragonfey. So you can see you get just a little more color in this. It's not as grainy. The image is more crisp, which is a really great improvement, because when you're reading, they're not always right here in your face. They're on the table, you know, in front of you. So it's nice that it's not as grainy. Now, the beautiful thing is that for each of these decks, 2 extra archetypes were included, 2 extra deities. And I am like so excited about who was included in these decks. So Rhiannon is my, love this image. She is one of the new ones, and I love her energy, and I love the way that he depicted her in this deck. I am just so pulled in and drawn in and excited to work with her in this deck, and when she shows up for other clients and on the altar spaces I create for my clients, I'm excited to see the interaction that she has with that. So here is the other goddess that's included, and it's Pele. So I don't know if you can see from the color on the camera, but Pele is really warm, and where a lot of the images in this deck are very earth-toned and almost sepia at times, she is vibrant and full of color. She is that fire energy, and I love that Jimmy Manton chose to show her this way. She's also gorgeous in her wrath and in her destruction aspect. So I love that Pele was included. So Rhiannon and Pele are the 2 extra goddesses you're going to get with this deck. Beautiful depictions of them. And the original guidebook for the Australian version had Artemis on the cover. The new one has Freya for the US version, and the new goddesses' full meanings and rituals are included for them as well. So the Goddesses and Sirens did not disappoint at all. Again, vast improvement on the covers. And so excited about the goddesses that they included. I wish that she had had the Morrigan in this deck. That's the only goddess that I'm really, really missing out of this deck. So, but Morrigan's not in here. Yeah, but I am so excited that Rhiannon and Pele are in this deck. So let's talk about the Gods and Titans deck. So this is the original. Again, it's that same thing. I'm not happy with this backing. The new one, oh, and I have to say, guys, I would never have known that there was US versions to these decks if one of you hadn't messaged me and said, hey, I know you work with a certain god who is not in the original, he's in the US version. And I was like, oh, okay, wow, I have to get that deck. Then I was kind of like, okay, how do I do this? Do I combine the two decks? Am I going to separate them? And I loved the newer version of Gods and Titans so much that I purchased Goddesses and Sirens, and I'm not disappointed at all. So I just wanted to say that thank you, because one of you did message me and say, hey, one of the gods that you work with really closely is in the US version, so you might want to pick it up. So thank you so much for saying that to me. I love the backing for the Gods and Titans deck even more than the Goddesses and Sirens. Again, cardstock, a lot flimsier, but same thing, less grainy pictures. So you were really able to see the images a little bit clearer. So you can see here Zeus. And things are not so like faded and difficult to see in the background when you actually put the cards down. So here's Loki. So that is the new version, improvement on the quality of the images and the clarity of the picture. It's much crisper, but the cardstock is weaker than the original. Apollo is one of the gods that's included in this deck. He is one of the new gods that's included for the US version. Not that he's new, but he's new to the deck. And my beloved Odin is now in the Gods and Titans deck. And this was a huge sadness for me because I work with Odin so closely, and I was so sad that Thor was in the deck and Loki was in the deck and Ul was in the deck, but we didn't have Odin. So Odin is in the new deck. I love this depiction of him. And this is just like, it's now one of the decks that is like, oh, in my collection. I am so thankful to have in my collection. As I said in the review for this deck, I love that we have an oracle deck, a divination deck that holds more of a masculine energy, especially from an oracle deck. We have so much feminine energy, and that's a positive. I'm not saying that that's a negative at all, but I love that there's a masculine balance with the Gods and Titans deck. And I love that together they create such a beautiful, because I combine my decks, my Goddess and Sirens and Gods and Titans decks. They create such a beautiful balanced energy as far as creating that balance within your own being. And they are so beautiful for any type of ritual or altar work. And the guidebooks really include just amazing rituals, beautiful jumping off points for you, especially if you're pagan, to really incorporate deity into your practice, into your daily practice and your spirituality. So they're also really great when you want to invoke or evoke certain archetypal energies for yourself. When you want to call in those energies, these cards are a beautiful, quick way to do that. So I love the US versions. I'm not at all disappointed I have the Australian version. I'm happy I have both versions and that I can now just have my US versions for my personal use, and I can use my Australian versions for altar use for other clients. So I'm very happy about that. If you have the Australian editions, you'll know now if it's worth it to purchase it for you for the American editions. I think it's worth it. I love the gods and goddesses that she added to this deck, and I think it's a positive. They're positive additions, and the clarity and the sharpness of the images in the newer deck is definitely a bonus, and it's great as well. I'm really happy that they kind of cleared up some of that graininess with the original. So, let me all know what you guys think of the US version. I hope if you're considering purchasing the second editions of these decks that you found this video helpful. And I'll see you in the next video, guys. Blessed be. Bye.